Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it's Sinji.
Where?
Or is it?
That's not
wait, no,
Sinji.
it's not Sinji. No.
It's not Sinji.
I saw the black shirt and I was like, I thought it was, but like, no, he's wearing his Deadly Alliance shirt.
Yep.
Is that a Boku no Hero Academia shirt?
That is a yes.
Guys, is that a JoJo reference?
Guys.
Hey, Rap.
Numbers Kiwi V3.
All right.
Told you.
So this is going to be John Numbers Kiwi V3. So this is going to be Wii Fit Trainer versus Pac-Man. And this is going to be interesting because we do see Wii Fit Trainer v Pac-Man a lot in the
But
city.
it's not the same Pac-Man.
Exactly. And Pac-Man is one of those characters. If you ever like compare the play style of, say, packaged fruits in Sinji, you see how dynamic the character can be. He has so much room for creativity in terms of how you set up his traps and everything. So when you see a new player with that character, you really get insight into that own character's, you know, the players, the inner workings of their mind.
They don't really play Pac-Man so much as they express themselves through Pac-Man.
Exactly. Pac-Man is the canvas.
Like, you play Cloud, you experience Pac-Man. That sounds really pretentious, but I'm just going to keep saying that.
No, it was good. It was good. Put it on a t-shirt.
New at AON, buy our Experience Pac-Man t-shirt. The music selection. Nah, we don't have enough Pac-Mans to really experience anything. Well, FD, first game. Yeah, I see it.
So this is normally, like, you do see Pac-Man's normal... Pac-Men? Pac-People. You see Pac-People often
This is a
favor
Pac-Man,
this stage.
so.
Yeah. You see Pac-Persons often favor this stage. Can we talk about the match, guys? And so the one thing though is that Numbers has the ability to use these sun salutations to very effectively zone Pac-Man. You know, he has to be very creative in terms of how he gets in. Wow, what a smart...
I feel like this is actually, Kiwi's actually a very aggressive Pac-Man, or at least right now. She's playing very aggressively.
And I mean, honestly, even if that's not Kiwi's normal style, I think it's very smart just because Numbers plays against a certain style of Pac-Man, being Sinji. Very patient, very sort of cerebral in the way he sets things
Geometry major Sinji.
Yep, exactly. So it could be just even the sort of mix, you know?
Yeah.
Throw.
Some say mix. Yeah. Share your mix.
God, there it is!
Mixed!
Yeah, Numbers going all the way out, getting the stomp. And now here comes the difficult part for any player
realize
against
John.
Yeah, he's gonna camp the ledge, and you have to figure out what you're gonna do.
But like, I feel like the aggressive Pac-Man is actually working just because Pac-Man doesn't really have a good neutral in general because Pac-Man's aerials are kind of meh, his ground game's not that great, and you can just kind of hold your shield against him because his grab is really terrible.
Come on, look at that. Did you see that? The grab sent him up so high.
It's terrible. We all
It's
know.
not a good grab.
Like, the grab is bad and like the follow-ups off the grab are bad.
There actually are some really cool mix-ups that he can do involving Hydrant. Like, for instance, I believe down throw while getting pushed by Water Hydrant can lead into up smash.
Wow, just catch him right at the ledge.
Yeah, really smart work from Kiwi, just aware that Numbers was going to run out of invincibility.
Oh, wow. That was just such a great chase pressure off the ledge. Dropping that Hydrant, John barely avoided it.
And one of the cool things about aggressive Pac-Man, which is something you don't get to see very often, is he actually has really good aerial frame data for the most part.
I feel like they're not like the greatest aerials, just because they're kind of a little weak.
Yeah, no.
As a general rule, but like they do have decent frame data, especially his Nair, which I think is frame 3 or frame 4.
Well, not just like for instance, his fair. Like
I know, like yeah, his other fast DKs are good. And back air, I know leaves Hydrant with exactly 1 HP.
Yes, that is.
So if you're a big fan of Hydrant geometry, you've always got just a move that sets it up perfectly.
Ooh, great power shield from Numbers. Lets him get a back air there.
I love it when people use Pac-Man's Hydrant against him, just because it forces you to really think quick.
Oh yeah. One thing though is do not try and use Pac-Man's fruit against him. I know that Shinji actually says that he loves it when people try and pick up his fruit because people don't really know how to use that. Like only the Pac-Man
I feel
player.
like there's some fruits that people know how to use. Like I feel like generally it's a bit safe to pick up a Bell, a Key, maybe even a Galaga. Ooh, that was nice.
But to like hold on to them.
Yeah. No, even just to use them, I feel like people understand the key because just the key is the kill, and the bell is the setup for the kill, and the Galaga can just be the Galaga.
And so we saw their
the other
numbers
ones, yeah.
finally closing out that game at 150% or so with the Sun Salutation from across the stage. So we're now moving on into game 2. That was actually great showing from Kiwi.
Yeah,
managing-
just aggressiveness was working out really in her favor. But like the other Pac-Man fruits, like I was saying, I feel like the other Pac-Man fruits are generally subject to that only Pac-Man can wield kind of thing. Because like you grab a grapefruit and you're like, all right, I'll throw it to cover my approach, and it's like just creeping along, and you're like, well, I guess I'll be approaching in a couple minutes.
Yeah, but it looks like Kiwi is getting some mid-set coaching. Might be able to help her figure out exactly, like, because actually she was doing a really great job, and the one thing is that first stock especially, numbers finally opened her up and basically took her all over the place and ended up netting a stock for it. So perhaps like maybe the disadvantage is probably the most, is the place that requires the most attention at this point.
Getting out of trouble is just as important as getting your opponent into it. But a lot of players don't really focus on it. They focus on like improving that punish game.
I mean, it's very hard to practice, you know, getting out of a bad situation.
It's just kind of something you pick up along the way. Ooh, I think she really wanted that nair hit. Oh, if that hydrant dropped, that would have definitely been a big, thing off for her off stage. But she didn't get like the hydrant drop on John when he was at like 12%. And like, so she wasn't able to like follow up on ledge. But either way, it's still really close. Ooh, that was nice.
Yeah, a great snipe from numbers, hitting the hydrant right before it hits the ground.
I actually thought you couldn't hit the hydrant like that until it hit the ground.
No, you definitely can.
Yeah, ooh,
what a beautiful conversion! It's so rare to see Wii Fit get an early kill like that. You know, normally if she gets an early kill, it's because of some edge guard. You don't see the ladder so much, but there it is, numbers showing it off.
Both these players are playing, I feel, unusually aggressive for their characters.
I mean, I think it might be that.
I think John's definitely responding to what Kiwi's going on, but Kiwi's just been throwing it out there.
I do feel that the way Numbers is playing is sort of retaliating in kind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like that's definitely how I feel about it.
Oh, now we're seeing more of a
okay.
the classic Numbers strat.
I thought the bell just stopped existing for a bit because John was just saluting so much that it just looked like he wasn't holding it.
Yeah, I'm like waiting for that bell to actually come into play.
I thought John was actually too low.
Oh, I think John wanted to knock Kiwi into that. Amazing! So, using the ball, the header to extend the hitbox, and I believe the intangibility in that up smash was a factor as well, closing out that game 2. John Numbers taking it 2-0 over Kiwi.